Welcome back, Knicks fans. So this was the last preseason game, Knicks versus Wizards, and somehow the Knicks pulled this out. Not exactly sure how they did it. One thing I we do know about this team, they have a lot of grit. Mostly, I think a lot of it is because of their coach Tom Thibodeau. It doesn't matter what time of the year or season it is. Tom Thibodeau does not like to lose ball games, especially if it's a game he think that his team should win. And I think it was one of those. This was a game he felt that they should win, and the Knicks just did not put in enough effort in the first half, especially with their offense. I'm sorry, with their defense, and then offense basically was stagnant as well. And so it was a rough one. They were down as much as 19 at one point in the game, and they had to come all the way back in order to win this game. So first thing first, this was Mitchell Robinson's first game back. Everyone was very excited to have him back. It was awesome seeing him. As soon as he came into the game, you can just tell his presence was really felt. Defenders, I remember first quarter, there was a defender who was basically in the lane. He hesitated because Mitch was there. He didn't want to go up. He ended up just passing off the ball, and it was just a bad offensive sequence, and it was all because Mitchell Robinson was right there in the paint. He blocked a few shots in his game. However, Mitch, although is a sorely missed presence, he obviously he was really out of shape. As you all remember, he had a foot injury, so it's not like he's been able to run all summer and stay in really good shape. He's really been only been able to lift weights, but it was really good to see him out there. It's going to take him a while before he really gets back into good shape. He was really huffing and puffing throughout this game. Also, you can also tell that he put on a lot. He put on quite a bit of weight. He's definitely bigger. Right now, I'm not sure if we're really seeing the benefits yet because he's not as agile as he used to be. And also, he's not as agile. He's slower. Of course, the extra weight is also going to mean he's going to have to work a lot harder to even get into game shape. However, it's really good to have him back. It was, really good seeing him out there. His presence was sorely missed, like I said before. All right, let's get into this game. We're just gonna first talk about the players first and the contributions to the game, and then we're gonna go into some of the issues that the Knicks had in this game. Why it was such a difficult game for them to pull out. So the first person on the board is R.J. Barrett. R.J. Barrett, he shot 7 to 14, 4 6 from three. Overall, it was a pretty solid game. He played really good defense, and it was good to see that he played. He's become a very solid defender. Even down the stretch when we needed a stop, he actually had a really huge block on his man to help the team out. So he had a very solid game. Julius Randle, he struggled shooting the ball. He was 6 to 16, 1 for 6 from three. It's he had 10 rebounds. He had 4 turnovers, right around his average last year. Actually, I think he averaged something like 3.4 or 3.5 turnovers last year. So this is slightly above his average. Julius Randle, he's a big man that can make plays, which is really good. That's very rare in the league. So it definitely helps the Knicks a lot. However, he really needs to work on keeping the turnovers down. I don't know if this is something the team has worked with him on, but I think it's definitely something they really should start working with him on. Maybe figuring out ways of either making better decisions, or maybe they need to just find a way for him to be a little more focused on the offensive end, especially when he's going one on one. Sometimes it's just it's there's just not enough focus there, and he does stuff like he dribbles the ball off his feet. So he struggled this game. He really struggled a lot. He did hit the game winner and also hit a huge 3 pointer to help lead the comeback. In the first half, his defense was really bad. It was pretty bad, and I was very surprised because he was a solid defender last year, and he's been playing solid defense the whole preseason. But for some reason, in the first half, he just wasn't there. Didn't play good defense, but in the second half, late third quarter and the fourth quarter, he really picked it up. Mostly in the fourth quarter, because he was on the bench a lot in the second half, and but when they did bring him in the fourth quarter, he actually started playing a lot better defense. Really started to hustle, and he really was the leader out there on the defensive end. And so he did a great job. And also he pushed the ball a lot. He really pushed the ball a lot to help us, to help lead the charge in the comeback. And so Taj Gibson, he didn't play as many minutes as the previous game, and of course he didn't really do much. He was in foul trouble most of the game, so not much to talk about there. Evan Fournier, he's really just like the grease, kind of like he's like the grease for this offense. Kind of helps keep things fluid, keeps the wheel turning, and keeps things moving, which is really nice. I really like his role on this team. Although on the defensive end, we struggled a little bit today. I didn't pay enough attention to Evan Fournier and his defensive effort. I felt like he's played really good defense throughout this preseason, and I didn't really see anything egregious out there by him in the first half. He didn't really play much in the second half. I think he only played early third quarter, and that was basically it. But the team's overall defense was pretty bad, and I don't think he got in the game in the fourth quarter. He actually sat the whole fourth quarter. And Kemba Walker is really, that's where the source of our problems begin with, of the Knicks' problems begin with, in my opinion. He just hasn't been able to keep anyone out of the paint. It seems like he just can't stop anyone. I mean, he had this guy Ninja looking like Steve Nash or like Chris Paul. So it was, um, it was pretty, it was pretty tough to watch. And on the offensive end, he did some good things when he's on the floor. He does really help the ball move. With him and Fournier really improves our offense because there's a lot more movement, which is really nice to see. So he did some really good things on the offensive end. It's just the source of his problems is really on the defensive end. And a lot of times if you don't have a really if your defense is not good, especially on a team like the Knicks, it's going to affect your confidence and it's going to affect your ability to play offense. And so, he didn't play late third quarter or even in the fourth quarter at all. So he wasn't a part of the comeback. So he basically sat most of the second half because he really struggled on the defensive end. Mitchell Robinson, talked about him already. He had 9 rebounds, 6 of them was offensive. His presence was huge out there. However, like I said before, he is out of shape and he struggled a little bit. Only shot 37% from the field, and so he's just not himself yet, and so he's going to have to work really hard to get back into shape. Derrick Rose played 28 minutes, 11 of 20 from the field, 3 of 6 from three, 28 points. Derrick Rose, like since the playoffs last year, he's looked like the best player on the New York Knicks, and and so he's played really well. Emmanuel quickly, he struggled a little bit today. Maybe it's because he's playing more of a point guard role. Maybe because it's so new for him. He's because it's new for him. I think maybe it's just something that he's going to take a while to get adjusted to, and so it's going to be interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see what happens to Emmanuel quickly as the season goes along. Obi Toppin played 20 minutes. He was 4 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from three, and he played pretty well. It looks like he had he had 8 rebounds, and 3 of them were offensive rebounds, which is really nice. He had a couple of nice lobs that he got. Obi Toppins, I like the way he's been playing. I wish he'd be a little more aggressive, but I think he's just feeling the game out, trying to take what the defense gives him, which is good, and so he's trying not to do anything out of the flow of the offense. So his progress is pretty okay. I like how he's handling his playing time. And the other thing about Obi Toppins is he's played really good defense. I mean, he may not be a great wing defender. Um, we haven't seen him that much, but he's always in really good position, even when he's playing against wing defenders. What I tend to notice is he always makes sure he has his hands up. He has very good position, and so a lot of times, even the wing defenders, once he closes out and he has his hands out, they're not really willing to challenge him and try to take him to the hole because he's a pretty big guy. So once he basically has his hands out, he's a pretty big guy, 6'7", probably with I'm not sure what his wingspan is, might be probably either 6'10" wingspan or something like that. He's a big man. I don't know if anyone's going to be thrilled to really want to take him off the dribble that often. And so because of his position on the defensive end, it's really helped him a lot. and he's really tried. He only got first. The only egregious thing I've seen from him this preseason so far is him getting beat. He got beat backdoor today, and it was off an inbounds play. But aside from that, he's done really well on the defensive end. And so the next thing I wanted to do is, oh, I'm sorry. Before we go to the next topic, actually, Alec Burks, he was out today, so they gave him the night off. Kevin Knox did not make an appearance at all. Didn't play whatsoever, and so the rest of these guys didn't play. Of course, Jericho Sims didn't play. You know, he really had his. He just had a bad performance during the last game preseason game that we had. So we may not even see Jericho Sims for a while. He may actually end up playing the G League. Who knows? But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. So the next thing I want to do is look at the advanced analytics for this game because I'm trying to get a good idea of who contributed to most of this game. And also there's a few things I want to look at. I want to really pay attention to Julius Randle's efficiency and also RJ Barrett's efficiency. It's extremely important because these are two top dogs on the team, and they're the ones that take most of the shots. They tend to have the higher usage rate. Although RJ Barrett, his usage rate this game was probably lower than any other preseason game. However, it's really important to kind of look at the advanced analytics and the efficiency for Julius and RJ because they are the two top dogs for this offense. At least that's what the team wants to focus the offense on. And so, like I said, with RJ Barrett, it was really interesting. I've always complained about his ability to finish in the paint, and it's always been a problem. And we'll look at his shot chart later. But the reason why that is, although RJ Barrett shot 7 to 14 and 4 of 6 from 3, I think he shot something like 2 of 6 from basically at the rim. And so, as you guys see here, if he had a really good, if he had a really good efficient game, if his game was a lot more efficient, this offensive rating would be a lot higher. His offensive rating was only around 109, which is not that it's not terrible, but it's not that great either. Defensive rating was pretty good. I have a feeling RJ Barrett, his defensive rating is going to be around 109, 110 this year, and so it seems like he's really improved on the defensive end, and so he played really well. The Wizards, they have obviously those two excellent guards. They have Beal and also they have Dinwiddie, and so they're not easy. And RJ Barrett has been taking these guys on, and so to take these guys on and come away with a 109 defensive rating, that's actually very impressive. However, the one thing that concerns me with RJ again is his ability to finish at the rim, and it's really impacting his offensive rating. Take a look at Julius Randle. Julius Randle had a worse shooting night than RJ Barrett did, and Julius Randle still ended up with a higher, offensive rating. Although it was only by actually maybe a point and a half. It was only up by a point and a half, but it was still higher than actually no more than a point. Who knows? A point and a half, 2 points, but it was still higher than RJ's. And it's because Julius Randle actually is a little more efficient at the rim, and that matters in when they're calculating the offensive rating. Okay, as we go down the line, as you guys can see, this is probably part of the reason why we struggle on the defensive end. You look at everyone else's defensive ratings, it wasn't very good. Julius Randle was at 113. Julius Randle, this is above his average from last year. His average defensive rating for all the games, I think, was like 107, 108, and he was like top 5, top 7 in the league. So 113 wasn't that great. Probably in the first half, it was probably worse in the first half. Let me see if I can isolate this by quarters and see what it looks like. So let's look at first half. So we're going to look at defensive rating for Julius Randle in the first half. And here we go. And this was the issue right here. And so in the first half, the defensive rating was really bad. Same for RJ, actually. He struggled in the first half. And, it makes sense to see this now. So in the first half, he struggled. RJ did struggle defensively because Bradley Beal was in the game. Bradley Beal did not play the third this really most of the second half or all the second half because of I think he had a some kind of bruise, either a knee bruise or thigh bruise, and so of course because he wasn't there anymore, he didn't terrorize RJ in the second half. So that's probably what really helped RJ's total defensive rating really come down. But as you see, Julius Randle, his defensive rating was 123 in the first half. It was just really bad. Taj was 130. He couldn't do anything with that big man, Gafford. Gafford was just killing us. Oof. Fournier, he struggled as well. He was 125. And of course, well, Kemba was basically almost 129. He was the worst on the team. Actually, Taj was the worst on the team, but Kemba wasn't far behind. He was at basically almost 129. Mitch, first half, he was the only bright spot on the defensive end the first half. Him and Derrick Rose, they were at. He played 15 minutes. That was 100. And of course, look at this. Taj basically had to deal with the same guy. This is 130, and Taj is a very solid. He's a solid guy. He always has great positioning. He's not in the same shape as he was when he was a younger man, so he definitely uh, would struggle against a Gafford, right? However, he's still a very solid player, solid defender, and he struggled against Gafford. But then look, Mitch when Mitch played in the when Mitch played in the first half against Gafford, he played 15 minutes in the first half, and he had a 100 defensive rating. So I mean, Mitchell Robinson, he's just like the guy's just a game changer, especially on the defensive end. He just like it's just he makes everyone change their mind. If you wanted to come in the lane and take a layup, Mitch Robinson is gonna make you change your mind. You're gonna see Mitch and you're gonna decide to pass the ball. If you were coming in the lane and you were thinking like, okay, I'm gonna get Mitch Robinson to jump and then I'm gonna pass it off to his man, you're gonna come in the lane. Mitch Robinson may jump, but then you realize, oh my goodness, his arms are so big and it's flying everywhere, and he may actually get the hand on the ball, and you're going to try to change your mind and try to throw up some kind of wild shot, and you're going to miss it, or maybe you're just going to turn the ball over when you try to force a pass. But he's just a game changer. He just like causes a lot of havoc. Not even like in the post, even when he comes out like on the pick and rolls and he's like at the top of the key, a lot of times. And I noticed quite a few times where he was close to the ball handler. His man was too close to the ball handler, and he would basically lunge at the ball handler. And the ball handler realized, oh my goodness, I didn't realize how big and too long this guy's arms were. And we got a few turnovers because Mitchell Robinson was close to the ball handler. So he's don't want to belabor the point. He's definitely a game changer, and it's very impressive to see him on the court. And the crazy part is he's out of shape. And that's the crazy part. If this guy can get back into shape, and it's he's going to be amazing. So Derrick Rose, his defensive rating was 104 this game. So that was pretty. It was pretty solid. It was pretty good. Derrick Rose, his offensive rating was only no. This was I'm sorry. This is in the first half. His offensive rating in the first half is only 92.6. But it improved for the rest of the game. It really jumped up in the second half because he ended up having to take over the game. Julius wasn't really doing anything much, especially in the third quarter. And the defense was just really atrocious with the first unit. And so when Derrick Rose came in the game, he really just took over the game, especially in the second half. And so this offensive rating for the rest of the game actually jumped up to like 116. Emmanuel quickly, still playing great defense. His offense is really struggling. Quentin Grimes, great defense as well. Quentin Grimes, it's for those situational minutes, he's going to be getting those situational minutes. It doesn't look like it's going to be Kevin Knox. They got to look at Kevin Knox. Although Quentin Grimes didn't shoot as well as Kevin Knox has shot, Quentin Grimes doesn't get beat backdoor. He doesn't get beat very easily at all. With Kevin Knox, when he has good positioning and his man gets the ball, his man still ends up shooting over him and scoring, or his man ends up taking him to the basket. But with Quentin Grimes, you don't see any of that craziness, and so it's if Quinn Grimes is going to beat Kevin. I think he's going to end up beating Kevin Knox out. Don't be fooled because he only shot 2 of 8. It doesn't matter. He's still going to end up beating Kevin Knox out. Obi Toppin, like I said, played a great game. Offensive rating was only 100 in the first half, but defense was pretty solid. It was 94, and so. But the reason why we really struggled, if you look at the starters, that's really, if you notice these starters, look at the defensive rating. It was worse, way worse than the second unit in the first half. So this is the defensive rating for the first half, and the starters, we have 125, 123, 130, 125, and 129. And then with the backup unit, we have 100, 104, 96, 88, and 94. I mean, that's the whole story right there. That's what happened really in this ball game. And the reason why we were able to come back was because of that second unit was able to pick up the defense. All right, let's just go back to the rating uh, for the whole game, so we can take a look at it. And so, like I said before, it's it's the reason why we really we struggle is because of the starters, and the bench unit really helped us come back in this game. There's not really much else to say about this game. It's just it's one I kind of would like for I would love to forget about it because it does show some issues the Knicks are going to struggle with. They're going to struggle keeping ball handlers out of the paint, and so their rotation is going to have to be really tight. They're going to have to be really quick to help off the dribble penetration. So they have a lot to do, a lot to work on. So okay, we're going to take a look at RJ Barrett's shot chart, and because we talked a little bit about efficiency and his offensive rating and why him not being able to finish in the paint is really affecting his offensive rating. It also is affecting our ability for offense obviously to be more efficient and also for it to be potent. It's great that he's shooting well from three, and it's really helped mask a lot of his issues finishing at the rim because he's been really hot in this preseason from three, and he's probably going to stay that way. He's obviously a really good 3-point shooter. He showed that last year. He's showing that in the preseason, and I think that's going to continue. However, we really need to work on RJ being able to finish close to the rim. Right here in the paint in the restricted area, he was only 2 of 6. This was one post move he had uh, in this over here close to the basket. He was 0-1 for that. And, that's a problem for the Knicks. The Knicks really want to become more efficient at the rim for us to have a more potent offense. And because the three-pointers aren't always going to fall. And so if the three-pointers aren't falling, you got to be able to finish at the rim. These long twos and even some of these mid-ranges aren't always going to fall. There's going to be games where you're going to be off. You're not going to be able to hit any threes. You're not going to be able to hit any twos or any long twos. And so you're going to have to be able to finish at the rim. So that's why it's extremely important. If you notice, like I said, he was 2 of 6. That's 33%. The league average, this league average, it might be based on the preseason because I know last year I think the league average was around 64% from the restricted area. That's how that was the efficiency. That's what people shot from this area. All the players in the NBA, and the distribution is basically the number of shots um, he took from this area. So yeah, he took 6, so that was about 43% of his total shots. That makes sense because he took only 14 shots. 6 of them were threes. 6 was within the restricted area, and 1 was here from the baseline. And so we're gonna look at a couple of videos to see his uh, how he shot in this game. And so on this one here, this was like the first play, and he was able to get a wide open 3-pointer, and he was able to knock it down. And here, Fournier basically passed Kemba to RJ. RJ was able to knock the corner 3 down. And so, like I said, his 3-point shooting has been on point, especially off the pass when you give him the ball. In this one, he got the ball from Julius, and he missed it. We're really concerned more about. I want to get to the part where he drives to the lane. This one, he drives to the lane and gets his shot blocked. And by nothing, he got it blocked by, I can't remember the guy's name. He's a terrible defender. This one, he actually made the layup, which was really good. Every time he drives to the left, he's more likely to make the layup. He was able to make, there he missed that baseline jump shot off the dribble. So he struggled shooting off the dribble as well. This one was interesting. Back to smaller man down. He should have taken his time and he should have been able to make this, but he missed it. And so that's just wanted to give some examples of of RJ just struggling to finish at the rim. And although, like I said, he shot overall 7 to 14, it really does mask how well and how efficient he is, because that really affects your offensive rating. This here is dragging down his offensive rating. If he actually finished at least, let's say, uh, if he started finishing closer to 60% from here, I mean, his offensive rating will probably be closer to like 120, right? But because he's just struggling at the rim, as soon as he handles that, RJ, then you're then you can start talking about all-star considerations at that point. And that's how close he is. But he needs to take care of just finishing at the rim. That's really all he needs. He can get there, but he needs to figure out a way to just finish, especially on the post ups. On the post up, there's no reason to rush. He should just take his time, and maybe he just needs to practice, his post up moves a lot more. And so whatever it is, he just needs to work on it a little more and just improve it. And so I just don't want to harp on it too much, but it's a huge problem for the Knicks, and so that's why I keep talking about it, because that's the reason why we struggled against the Hawks last year, because we had no one that could finish at the basket, and Julius couldn't get to the basket to finish at the basket either, and so because of that, we really struggled. We struggled mightily in the playoffs, and I think that's part of the reason we even struggled in the regular season quite often. So the next person we're going to look at Julius Randle's shot chart. Okay, this game, Julius actually struggled shooting the ball mightily today. Um, and so he's another person that we really have to depend on, especially to improve their offensive efficiency for us to do well, not just in the regular season, but also in the playoffs. Julius Randle only shot 6 for 16 today and 1 of 6 from 3. Normally he shoots pretty well from 3, but today he didn't shoot that well from anywhere, from most places, I should say. I mean, he his mid range was pretty okay from the right hand side over here. He took a couple of long twos, which he didn't. He stayed away from it for most of the preseason. I noticed he took one last game, and he took two this game, and I think it's something the coach didn't want him to do. It looks like they talked about it. I know prior to the preseason, they didn't mention Julius by name, but they talked about staying away from long twos. But I guess with basketball, sometimes it's like you just kind of have to do what you're comfortable with. And so I can understand him just kind of like falling back into this habit. But it's probably something they want to really monitor and take a look at. Again, like I said in a video like some time ago, Julius Randle from 16 feet out, he shoots about 41%. And then he shoots 41% from three. And so I can definitely see why the coach doesn't want him to take that shot, because it just doesn't make any sense to take it. You might as well just step back and take it. And it's crazy that I'm talking like that. I was never one of these guys that are really into pushing for the league to shoot 3 pointers, uh, because I think used the right way, it can work, and only if you have really efficient 3 point shooters. I think it only works for your team if you have guys that are shooting 40% and above. But if you have guys shooting more like 35%, it's a little. I think it's difficult for it to work. However, let's just stay focused on Julius and his shooting roles in this game, and us being more efficient. And so for Julius, what I really was hoping that he would work on this year, I was really hoping for him to improve. He normally, at the rim, he normally finishes pretty well at the rim. Today, he only shot 2 of 4. Normally, he shoots around 66, 67% at the rim. And Julius Randle, a lot of times, he basically, when he gets shots at the rim, is normally rebounds, offensive rebounds that he finishes, or a lot of times it's shots that he creates himself. And so normally it's shots that Julius Randle creates himself. And so the thing is, I was really hoping that he would work on this mid range out here. Basically, everything from outside of the restricted area up until 16 feet. But from what I've seen so far, it doesn't look like Julius has, he worked. I'm sure he worked on his game. He worked on his game over the summer. They say he was in the gym the whole time, but I don't know. They got to find a way to improve his ability to finish in this area. The one thing I noticed, Julius, he likes to take. Obviously, he likes to shoot off the dribble quite often, especially in the mid-range area. I wonder if they should consider talking to him about possibly, instead of just, if you know you want to take the shot anyway, why take the dribble? If you get the ball, let's say like up somewhere in a high post up here or in the wing, why not just turn around, jab step, and just shoot the ball? I wonder if that might be better for him, and if that, if it may help improve his efficiency. He wastes less energy that way as well. If he does that, it might actually help improve his efficiency. And so again, this is something it will be really nice for them to focus on. They have to really watch this here. Today he went basically 2 of 2 for on the long twos. However, it's something they really need to be careful about. Again, like I said, he shoots the same percentage from three as he does on the long twos. So I think it just makes better sense for him to just step out and take the threes. But given the way he's shooting from three today, I definitely understand why he was like probably like, you know what, screw it. I just need to do what I'm comfortable with doing right now and take a comfortable shot. And he took the shots he was comfortable with, especially in the second half, and that, it definitely got him going and helped get the team going as well. And so I'm definitely proud that he was able to do that. I'm really proud of the team, the fact that they basically, uh, they had pride, they gutted it out, they swallowed their pride, and decided to, dig in, play more defense, and try to pull this game out. Honestly, it's very difficult to see how we won this ball game, but I really think the difference was, obviously it was only a 2 point game. The difference really was, it was just looked like we made basically one. Did we? I think we made one more 3 pointer than they did. We made 15 3 pointer, and they made 14. So we made one more 3 pointer, and we also made two more field goals. Yeah, we made two more field goals. And so that was basically the difference in the game. And those two more field goals that we made, that one more 3 pointer as well, was because of offensive rebound. We were able to, uh, we got 12 offensive rebounds, and so they only got 6. So we're able to limit the amount of second chance. They were able to get more second chance points than they were able to get. And so that's essentially how we're able to win this game. And it's because I think I attribute that mostly to Tom Thibodeau not liking to lose. And it doesn't matter what time of the year it is. It doesn't matter that it's preseason. It doesn't matter if it's game 40 in the regular season and the team happens to be, let's say, 25-15, and it's a back to back, and they're trying to mail it in. Tom Thibodeau doesn't like to lose, especially especially games that he thinks your team should win, especially if they're not putting in the proper effort. And so, honestly, I contribute. I basically say that you can say basically they got this win mostly because of Tom Thibodeau and his attitude and don't quit attitude. And so, congratulations, they were able to pull it out. Hey guys, let me know what you think about this video. This was sort of a long one, but there was quite a few things that the Knicks are struggling with that I wanted to talk about. Tell me what you think about it. Comment below. If you like it, let me know. Like and subscribe, and I'll be more than happy to respond to your comments. Thank you.